Akufo-Addo for transforming the country's economic fortunes. And she says again, borrowing can't sustain the economy. And also, Vice Lady appointed first nutrition champion of Ghana. And she's supposed to make sure that malnutrition and other problems that kids and other people have in this country are resolved. Imani calls for parliamentary probe into Unipass contract. Unipass is what's happening at the bottom. We're told that January they'll take over. You know, there was JCNet, there was West Blue or West Green or some other company in that direction. Then Unipass is taking over finally to deal with the matters there.
Okay.
There's another one about Mahama Bagbin Alabi filed nominations, and there are 4 of them actually that filed nominations yesterday, but more are supposed to happen today. We understand Gusitano, for example, will be doing his own today. So we'll be giving that details later on.
Let me take you to the Lady Graphic, and the president talks about borrowing here again. He says we'll not resort to reckless borrowing. And Dani family divided over Dagbon peace process, and 2 MPs quarrel over property price. I did not collapse Capital Bank, that's Pastor Otable speaking, and 32 oil and gas companies honored.
It was in May. You heard that song before?
Yes.
Yeah.
By Shaggy.
You were born.
Raymond, be very careful. I am surprised you know the song It Wasn't Me.
Oh, okay. Dennis says that he was also born. So it's interesting. The song is fairly new. Daily Guide is reporting this morning $1 billion US X-Months gift for Ghana and 4 file for new NDC race. And minister confronts Ablakwa. There's also one about Nana warns appointees over petty fighting. That's on the front page of the Daily Guide.
Is it infighting or fighting
across
the
this
aisle?
Is diplomatic fighting.
Because it's interesting that came immediately after the minister fighting.
The head of the diplomatic unit in this country is fighting the chief diplomatic officer for the minority.
It's a serious thing.
While diplomatic missions across the world are fighting.
It's a serious thing. The Daily Statesman says Ghana's image enhanced on international stage, according to the president. NPP takes Mahama back to classroom. Babian Samoa, MPP Communications Director's picture there. Ursula sets out Ghana's stall at ITU conference, and IMF boss Lord's Farmerline and Rwanda's Zipline initiatives.
And if you're a vessel that will launch to dock at our port, Takoradi is the best place to be because they've slashed down fees to woo some more vessels. That's on the front page of the Chronicle with I have won already. And Mahama saying so, and NDC wants to vote for Mahama. This according to the MPP. So the MPP has uncovered a plot by the NDC to rank the lesson for Mahama. And that's on the front page on the Chronicle.
The president's speech when Madame Christine Lagarde of the IMF visited is also on the front page of the New Crusading Guide. Mahama ridicules drone project, and Ghana selected for another Millennium Challenge Cooperation Compact.
Now, 2 assemblies to mainstream clean energy is also on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. But WA School for the Blind cries for help. And this is a very sad story. That's on the front page of the Ghanaian Times too. Ghana will survive without IMF intervention. So this will be the last war to win all wars with the IMF. We said it in 2009 though. But on the front page of the Ghanaian Times, Abudus and Adanis can't and Skin Chiefs as mediation committee imposed ban. There's one other, Ghana to benefit from Millennium Challenge account, and police order CID to investigate. That's the president rather. CID to investigate sacked judges. We brought you this story yesterday.
Of course, fire guts Indomie warehouse. That's on the front page of the Today newspaper. Tension in Tema Station and drama in Parliament with Okudzeto Ablakwa's picture facing off with Madam Shirley Ayoko Boche, Foreign Affairs Minister. Raymond, let's start from the Greater Accra Police arresting 108 suspected criminals. Good news as we enter Christmas, isn't it?
Yes, and they actually did a press conference to announce this to the rest of us in this world. And this includes impounding some other 51 motorcycles in the soup they carried out in various corners in the metropolis. Now, most of the suspects are male, but 5 of them are female. All of them are aged between 18 and 65. And they were apprehended at Tudu Circle, the Vodafone area. You see where they sell the phones. And also Art Center in Accra and also Accra Central. So this is where these people are arrested. What they found on them, as usual, quantities of dried leaves suspected to be Indian hemp were also retrieved from the suspects. And they also all of them are in custody, pending screening, investigations, and making sure that we rid the streets of criminals, especially those of them who may constitute themselves into armed robbers. But DCOP, the regional commander in this case, the DCOP, Patrick Adusesapon, has been speaking about this incident. He says that 1,200 personnel have been deployed for Operation Father Christmas. 400 of them will be dealing with traffic alone. I hope they concentrate on the traffic.
Yes.
And the rules.
And the rules in the traffic. And nothing else.
Yeah.
No monetary
Not your boys day here.
Oh, chairman.
Oh, if you see some old man say your boys day here, and you don't know whether you are the boy or the old man is the boy in this case. But that's aside the point. There's another issue that we should also concentrate on. This is important because last year, 2017, Greater Accra topped the regions with the highest level of robberies in the country. Indeed, there were 809 cases of robbery. It was increased by 31% compared to 2016. Overall, there were 1,772 robbery cases in the country, and there was an increase of 37%, of course, from the 2016.
Okay, from the 2016.
And 5 cases of robbery on the average were recorded per day in the year 2017.
5 every day.
Yes, so
in
5
in this Greater Accra region.
Yes, but the other interesting point is that they have been doing a lot to try and reduce the number of people who die from it. For some reason, the number of people who die from the robberies have reduced drastically compared to 2016, even though the robbery numbers have increased. This is why they have to put in more effort. We know that Christmas is a period for us to celebrate, but it's also a period where most of these robbery cases are out of control because there are a lot of people out there. There are people, they are worse off. The last year that the robbery cases were considered, there was an important phenomenon came out. Flashy vehicles driving home, being trailed, and their drivers being attacked just before they enter their homes or go with them into their house and steal from them, topped the number of robbery cases in the country. So people should particularly be concerned about who is following them, how they are moving in there, and they should be, if you find a spot that is good enough, can park. If you feel they are being trailed, like a filling station or any of the other 4 stations, you can actually park. Wait till you get the people. A police station is also a wonderful place to go and park and say that I'm being trailed, so please get this guy off my tail. And that would be a wonderful thing.
And with the increased number of officers, we are hoping that the police will be more helpful, accompany some of these drivers home. It's always best to drive in a group, isn't it?
Yes, wonderful.
Yes, and we know Christmas is a time for revelry, but have a couple of you sober all the time so that you'll be more alert and you can look out for some of these guys trailing you, because I can imagine going home from having a night out around 2 or 3 a.m. You may not be thinking exactly of who is behind you.
Yeah, going home from church is always a wonderful thing to do.
Going home from church is also a very good thing to do. Now, speaking of Christmas and the activities associated with it, particularly with the police, businesses along the Oxford streets are protesting that there are too many carnivals that block the road generally, much less around Christmas when we are going to have that increased activity. So a number of them have petitioned the IGP to see to this. And these businesses are Frankie's Hotel, as we all know, Sogna Limited, Computerland Ghana Limited, Oxford Street Mall, Papaya Fast Food Limited, and Telefonica. Usually the blockades start from okay, I'll find it for you. It's within the story somewhere. From Spain Hotel.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I wanted to find the Spain Hotel. From Spain Hotel to Papaya Fast Food.
Yeah.
Usually and these businesses are very much affected. They say that it affects their business. They also have security concerns around that time because there's a lot of concentrated activity around there. So they are asking for a couple of relief from the IGP. They say that they should investigate. They should first of all temporarily halt any blockade of the roads in this period going forward and investigate the people who come and sell there, for instance, the hawkers, and the people who generally can make sure that they are all registered. And the main concern is that, look, this is crippling our business. We need to take another look at it. This issue of blocking roads, when you go to Takoradi, for instance.
Can't we find alternatives? I mean, that's what's on my mind. Can't we find alternatives? I think that the Oxford Street is tired. It's been very misused, abused, stretched for a very long time. And get it, Christmas is also the time that people want to have a windfall, have huge sales. If they cannot get the sales they want because people cannot access the place, and imagine me, I want to go buy for the place. I have alternative malls in mind. Why would I go to that place when I know that the place? Yes, really. Extra stress. Nobody wants that. So we can look at alternatives. And again, others have devised means of moving carnivals into places that they are not huge numbers. We can also try those ones too.
that is also a point. Maybe you can move the carnival to a less busy street.
Yeah.
But then we could also look at having
feeling, you know.
Yeah, or you can involve some of these shops in the business, in the carnival. Yeah. Anyway, it's a point for innovation, but that's the petition that has come up. Let's now go to Parliament where we had a fight, Raymond.
Now, in Parliament, there was some drama in the House yesterday when the minority members ambushed the Foreign Affairs Minister, Sheria Okoboche, by producing documents purportedly covering the intended purchase of a building in Oslo, Norway, by the government. So the accusation is pretty clear. The accusation from Sabo Kujato, who speaks on the side of the minority on foreign affairs, is this way. You are going to buy 12 million house to house what do you call it, ambassador, not as in home, but that's where representation will be, as in where Ghana's representation to Norway will be. Then
so that will be the embassy.
Yes, the minister was of the opinion that this is not the case, but she was shocked that it happened. In fact, when the fracas happened outside the Parliament house, her main concern was that, so why didn't you bring it to me?
Yes, why didn't you come to me?
Because but she was agitated. She was in an okay. You can listen to her.
Where's the journey? Talk to me and ask me whether I've heard number one, number two, if anything has been done about it.
That is why I brought all.
There's no acceptance of any offer. You can film me. You can film me.
So that was the exchange, and as Raymond was saying, as you were saying, I heard her say clearly, have I brought it to you to approve?
Yes.
Why didn't you come to me and ask me if this is true? And then for those of you who have not seen the video, when she was saying you can film me, she was walking towards Sam George, Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram Pram. And then Sam George asked, are you assaulting me? I am going to the speaker. So I'm going to the headmaster to report.
Yeah, the one is beating the man. The one is worried about being beaten. Going to report the matter.
No, but from when we saw in the video, she was walking towards Sam George. I didn't specifically see her touch, but she was walking, quite menacingly towards him.
No, he was afraid that, No, but the interesting part, there's this proverb in my hometown that says, the monkey is not as indignant as the man that held pebbles at it, as it is as the man that stood by and said, you are a good marksman. It is the filming man who is the problem in this case.
But government has released a statement on this. You brought us details on that during the 6 a.m. news.
So the statement says that the ministry takes strong exception to the minority's vigorous attempt to impugn the corruption into the said transaction by claiming that the price of the chancery has been inflated by some $8.5 million. The crux of the statement is that we have not in any way bought any building. We have been made offers, not only one, more than one offer. We are actually considering all of them, and we are in the position to settle on it when we do due diligence. Public procurement will have to come into it, and all of the processes will be followed. So be rest assured, there is no corruption happening now.
So, for those of you who may not know the genesis of Mr. Okudzeto Ablakwe's accusations, the house was initially sold for $2 million, and then it was resold for $3 million, and a little over $3 million. And now we are being seen, he is alleging that Ghana is going to buy it for $12 million. And it's because of this difference that makes for the $8 million that Mr. Okudzeto Ablakwe is speaking of. And Madam Ayoko Boche has been saying that that's not the case.
Okay.
And we have not bought any building for that. Let me take you into road construction. And for that, we are spending quite a bit. 6.5 billion Ghana cedis in road contracts awarded since January 2017. These represent, Raymond, 258 roads, 20 bridges, and the roads and bridges together are a little over 3,000 kilometers. This statement was made by the minister in charge, Mr. Christian Makwata, our good friend. He was speaking on the floor of Parliament. This is very important for us because, Raymond, 70% of our roads are poor. Between poor and good, actually. If you're going to do if you're going to measure from poor to very good. So those below good are poor. 70%. And this is according to the Ghana Highways Authority. And in 2016, the Ministry of Finance found that we would need some $7.3 billion to improve our infrastructure deficit generally. So my question is, how does this $6.5 billion fit within that 7.3 billion? What is the plan to gradually, chip away at this 7.3 billion over a period? Because it needs to be able to fit in that context. But even more worrying, Raymond, is that the Ghana Institute of Engineers in 2016, they did a general survey. It's called the Ghana Infrastructure Report Card, and they scored our roads at D3.
Okay.
In terms of quality, this is the roads that have been done already.
Yeah, but we know that it's for a very long time we've complained. Remember the popular, what they call it, road, Fufuso Sola Road, that became very, very controversial, brought about the Mahama gift saga, all of that. We have been concerned about how our roads fast deteriorate. First, the complaint was that, water and rains contribute to it. We know that, but we also know that some of these contractors do extremely poor job. Also because the pattern for payment has not been regular. So they make it in such a way that the amount of money they're supposed to get will be spread over a period of time, and they'll do it in a terrible way. Some also know that they pay kickback, not at the usual 10%, but way more than that. People are taking as, what they call it, the people who do consultancy work are paying kickback, the contractor himself is paying kickback, and virtually the amount to be required for them to use for the road is extremely poor. And the next 2 years, we have to award this road for construction, reconstruction, repairing, and all the things that require extra money to be spent on them. So perhaps we should check. And more importantly, we should check how much we are paying into corruption and these related factors.
Exactly.
So that we can rope in the right amount of money into using it for the roads.
And having the right quality of roads eventually. Raymond, let's move into partisan politics now. And the NDC has been busy.
Yes. Now, the NDC actually had his men and wonderful people filing their nominations yesterday. You do recall that Abam Bagbin, and there was something about Joshua Olabi. Joshua Olabi says that it is only the weak child that you ate in the classroom. So if there's an internal attempt to make sure that some are favored, then it is the weak child that's been considered in this case. Former President Mahama did so, proceeded to the trade fair to go and do a statement. He spoke about many issues. He queried government on the double track and said they'll review it when they come into office. He also spoke about the fact that government's boring. He talked about many other things that this government seems to be doing that he is of the opinion it's not in the right direction. And he's also taking on the government. In fact, he also made comments about learning from experience in times past, and that when he's given the opportunity, he's not going to actually repeat some of these things. Now, he has already said he's won already, but below that, there's a story in the Chronicle that the NPP is warning the NDC. Now, the NPP did a statement. Actually, their response to what President Mahama said, they rejected most of the claims that he made. They said that Ghana is better now than before. They quoted IMF boss as saying that Ghana in the last 2 years is better than the time before the 2 years, and proceeded to say that John Dramani Mahama is being made to be the winner of the incoming election next year because they have suspected that the NDC leadership is doing everything possible to machinate the system to put him there. And that's Yabo Abena Samoa uncovering the plot.
But do you remember when over the weekend Nana Komia, Yabo Abena Samoa's predecessor, the former communications director, mentioned that the NPP, well, he was referring specifically to the court case challenging Mr. Mahama's eligibility to run for president. Yeah. And you were saying that the NPP, when it does things like that, sort of make people think that they are afraid of Mr. Mahama, but then we don't fear him. That's what yeah. But as for this one, Bobia somewhere is afraid.
He's afraid.
Okay, let me move away from this subject quietly. We're quietly. Very, very quiet. I didn't say anything. There's a special supplement, Raymond, in the Daily Graphic that really excites me. Many more turn to e-payments for goods and services. You'll find it around where page 33 is supposed to be, but it's a special supplement on e-commerce. Okay. So there are all sorts of articles in their digital banking, exporting companies actually use e-commerce platform. But this one that really intrigues me is that there is a survey that has been carried out, and it's on page 4 of the special supplement by American Express Digital Payments Services. Now, they have a survey in 2017. 37% of the person surveys abandoned an online purchase due to security concerns. And whenever we talk about the fourth industrial revolution, Raymond, and the need to digitize the economy more, I expect to see more action being done in terms of upping security. Because remember, the head of the cybercrime, the national director of the cybercrime unit of the Criminal Investigation Department, CID, Dr. Herbert Gustav Janssen, he told us a while back that Ghana loses $200 million to cyber fraud. in 3 years. We lost that much to cyber fraud in 3 years. Particularly, he mentioned mobile money fraud. He mentioned other forms of cyber fraud. And I think that as we herald the industrial revolution and talk about digitizing the economy, we must make an extra effort to police it more.
Yes, and that reminds me, when are we going to build Silicon Valley? Because there
the
were
Hope City.
Oh no, Silicon Valley before Hope City. In 2013, Aaron Idusi said we're going to build a Silicon Valley as communications minister. Then that vision became somewhere. But Dr. Thomas Bensa, the innovator, has been pushing this agenda too. But you know that last week, very terribly, somebody called me that they had sent me mobile money mistakenly. I mean, I should check my account. I said, Master, if the mobile money comes my, I don't need to check the account. I see some notification. I mean, I'm interested in the notification more than you.
More than you. There was actually this guy who kept pestering me.
Can you believe that?
I said, look, my name is Dino Dazi. I work at Joy.
No, you cannot. This is how corruption starts.
Look, don't call my phone again.
No, you report to the police.
I told you, look, I don't.
You put the number on there.
Anyways, but interestingly, when Madame Christine Lagarde, head of the IMF, came to Ghana, she was lauding Farmerline, which is founded by a man I know very well, Aloysius Atta. He's a technocrat. He was in tech when I was, and was talking about how Farmerline is doing such good work. What else has she been saying?
Yes, she's been saying that borrowing cannot sustain the economy, and to her, we need to move beyond borrowing to make sure that we sustain. In fact, there's been a query about whether we are borrowing to do more production, which will get us money so that can pay for the debt, or we are borrowing to go into exactly consumption, which is spending the money anyhow anyway.
Right. Thanks, Raymond. And that's it for the news review. We are going online now, and the online news review is brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest and Goil Good Energy. The rewards are raining at Goil's Efie promotions. If you buy fuel at Goil, hurry and do more, because in the month of November alone, 720 customers received their ultimate rewards from the CIMG Petroleum Company of the Year. Now, Goil also won the Oil and Gas Services Company of the Year at the 2018 Oil and Gas Awards. And so kudos to all of our friends at Goil. Josh Crying of Ofanko has received 1,000 cedis worth of fuel on his Go card for the month of November and a weekend hotel stay for 2. Go collect your scratch card anytime you buy Goil fuel, 80 cedis and above. Dial *161 *4645 hash. Follow the steps. Your loyalty rewards also await you at the end of the month if you buy more fuel and accrue more points. The Goil Efie promo runs till January 2019. Goil Good Energy, Goil Yenara Yedia. Now, the Zenith Bank mobile banking code you've been waiting for is finally here. Dial *966 hash to open an account, transfer funds, top up airtime, pay bills, pay merchants, check account balance, and so much more. Banking is easy at Zenith Bank. Just dial *966 hash. This service is available to account and non-account holders. Zenith Bank, in your best interest. She could have done better. NPP MP condemns Ayoko Boche behavior. That's the NPP MP Fonsao Madradjuri, who is also the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, Frank Anodompre. He says he is not convinced with the explanation.
But Parliament itself actually said they were considering the other documents Okujetu has presented, so they suspended deliberations on the matter.
That's a show of independence from Mr. Anodompre. Kudos to you. Video, there's nothing like a dumb question when Dishe apologizes. Yeah. So for your information, when Nije was speaking to Raymond's wife,
conflict of interest.
So Raymond, you're in a position of conflict.
I'm not.
You cannot comment on this. But she was speaking on Behind the Fame yesterday, speaking to my brother on the drive yesterday. Enjoy 99.7 FM. AdamOnline.com quotes Fabe Waso. Gambler Halls Safari bets before Gaming Commission. You want to guess the details of that? And the BBC.com says Brexit, cabinet to consider ramping up no deal plans. Get the details of that on the BBC News at 7. Raymond, let's say a big congratulations to Mr. Jim Baden. Mr. Jim Baden is the immediate past CEO for Fidelity Bank.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes. He's been with Fidelity for years.
He's a big man.
He's a very important person in that organization. Transformed from a discount house to a tier 1 bank. Last night he was sent off with a nice send-off party, a celebration, and so.
Tier 1 bank with no threats from,
No threats from, no capital, what co-meaning, no, Charlie.
No, we did not take the money.
No. Mr. Jim Baden, you have acquitted yourself You have done well. Good morning from all of us here on the Super Morning Show. Enjoy FM generally. Congratulations. And all the best to Julian Ofori, who takes over from him. Mr. Ofori, all the best. May you fill the shoes well. We're going to take these important messages and then we take the BBC News. Stay with us.
This was Kwame's Life before Interplus In Green Irrigation System.